having. So, Dr. Mackenzie and I have been working together one-on-one for quite some time. She's an unbelievable doctor. I'm so proud of her, of her determination to step forward even when she's afraid. She is speaking. She is one of the presenters for Autism One, which I'm so proud of her for doing that. And she has interviewed JFK,
Robert Kennedy Jr.
I'm sorry, Robert Kennedy Jr., yeah. Andrew Wakefield, right? Billy DeMoss.
Yep. Carol Phillips. Dr. Montgomery, who's a big Logan person, my mentor. A lot of really amazing people and chiropractors.
And interviewed them. So she saw a gap in how and wanted to step up and really help with Autism One. She believed in the message that Autism One brings to our world. And so, hey, Karen, good to see you. Thanks for joining me, girl. And so we talked about it, and I said, hey, why don't you help out by interviewing people? Like, you're amazing on camera. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, you can do it. And she's like, okay. And so she stepped in and said, hey, how about I interview all the speakers so that we get the message out on Facebook as well. You know, she hadn't had tons of experience doing that and hadn't like been through formal school or anything, and just decided, I'm going to do it anyway. And now, as a result, has left an imprint in all of your minds about who Dr. Mackenzie McNamara is. So welcome, Kens. I'm really proud to have you. And if you were at my PEDS boot camp in February, Mackenzie killed it and did an awesome job teaching us. So at any rate, we were just having our one-on-one call, and I was sharing with her a distinction that I actually just kind of figured out on a webinar that Michelle Schwinn and I did. And that is, when you join us, let us know, you feel uneasy right now. Anyone feeling uneasy, just like you're not really grounded, that there's just like, this is like driving me crazy. Can anyone identify with that? Like, hit it into the comment section. And you know what? Up until that moment, I have felt like, well, the reason that we're feeling so frustrated, or the reason that we have so much anxiety, or the reason that we're kind of scattered is because things keep changing and we don't know the future. Like, when are they going to come with a new answer? When are they going to change up the game again? So here's my realization. That's not it. That's not why we're feeling frustrated and anxious and fearful. That's not it. Because you know what? Every part of our life, we really don't know. Our lives are changing all of the time. And if your life isn't changing, you are bored. You are frustrated. Here's what it is. It's that our core beliefs and our paradigms are being challenged in every way. As a chiropractor, they're being challenged on chiropractic care. Is it essential? Is it non-essential? Am I part of the problem? Am I part of the solution? Do I wear a mask? Don't I wear a mask? Do I wear gloves? Do I not wear gloves? Do I reduce my hours? Do I stay in? Like, all of these things, it's that we're being challenged at our very core. And so I shared that with Mackenzie, and I know that Mackenzie is very rooted in her paradigms and even teaches chiropractors about bringing philosophy into your practice in a way that your practice members will love it. Like, not even like, and adopt it as their own philosophy because it makes sense to them. And so as we were having this discussion, I said to Ken's, like, let's just go live so that we can invite our other chiropractic friends in on this discussion. So Ken's, what are your thoughts about the anxiety we're feeling as it relates to our paradigms being challenged? Hey, Amber, go ahead.
You know, I think this is, and I released a video about this when all this first started happening. It's a really great opportunity. So I look at this just like I would look at a new patient who would be a new practice member coming into my office and talking to them about interrupting the neurological pattern that they're in. And sometimes when that happens, it presents a really great opportunity for a powerful healing shift. But sometimes before that, they're very uncomfortable, and that's what prompted them to come into the office. So all of this crazy stuff is happening. It's unprecedented what's going on in our society, in our culture, within our homes. You know, we're living in unprecedented times. What's happening is it's presenting an opportunity, and a lot of us are resisting it because it's bringing all of our stuff up to the surface and forcing us to look at it as a profession, as individuals, as parents, as spouses, all of our roles. We're getting put in this pressure cooker and everything's bubbling up, and we're being forced to be still or stiller and look at it and face it and decide, am I congruent with this? How do I move forward through my actions in congruency or not? And when I'm feeling afraid, what is it that I'm afraid of? What's this trigger? You know, so it's a massive healing opportunity, and we can really use this to like expand our personal growth, which, you know, Dr. Barb, expands your personal practice when you do that. It's all about mindset. So like, it's powerful, but first we have to be willing to sit and look at what stuff is coming up.
And you know, I think when we're just in the norm and we think that, you know, we know the future, which we really don't at any given time, it's easy to just like, no, I'm not going to deal with that right now. I'm not going to deal with that right now. I'm not going to deal with that right now. And now we're all like forced to stop and look like, oh my gosh. Like even Ken's and I were talking about, you go to the grocery store and now you have to decide, am I going to conform to society and keep distance away from people and wear a mask and wear gloves and do all of this stuff because I want to fit in and I want to follow rules and regulations that maybe I don't agree with? But then there's a portion of, well, maybe I agree with it. Like, oh my gosh, what does that say about me as a chiropractor? If I agree with it, does that mean I'm afraid of disease? Does that mean I'm afraid of virus? Does that mean I don't believe in chiropractic? Like, we just like get all wound up in all of these thoughts. And I want to remind all of our chiropractic brothers and sisters, you are an outsider. We are the disruptors. We are the disruptors. Like, you did not get into chiropractic because you wanted to conform. I mean, there's no chance you became a chiropractor because you wanted to be a conformist, because we're weirdos for sure. And we have taken a stand. The very fact that you chose to be a chiropractor was, you said, I'm taking a stand. I'm taking a stand to believe that that health comes from the inside out. I'm taking a stand to say that innate intelligence is on the job. I'm taking a stand to say your body has the capacity to be well. You took that stand in becoming a chiropractor. And now all of that is really getting challenged in so many different ways. Like, even Ben and I were taking a walk yesterday, and our neighbor, we met up on the top of the loop. And like, she and I have known each other for several years, and we've hiked together and we've shared a lot together. And we're used to like giving each other a big hug. And I went to give her a high five or shake her hand about something. And immediately there was kind of like, are you supposed to do this? I'm like, you know, like, whatever, I'm going to, you know, so it's really just challenging us in so many different ways. So what is your strategy? Because you've gone through a ridiculous maskless weirdo taking a stand right here. And Amber, talk about some challenges in circumstances that you've had to really look at your own paradigms, Amber, since we all got to meet for the first time face-to-face in February. And really just, she's had to look in, and while looking, you know, like looking for conversation with others and forming her opinion, at the end of the day, had to take a stand on what she wanted to do and what was right for her. Right. So as stuff comes up for you, what is your strategy to evaluate it?
Well, as you were kind of alluding to before, I have gone through like the most massive life changes just prior to this, you know, like since just the end of December. I've gone through a lot of life changes before this stuff kind of happened. I went through a divorce, and I sold a home. Sorry, lost ya. sold a home, bought a new home. So I was kind of in that mode already, you know, so it's kind of a blessing because whenever I go through something like this, and a lot of my practice members, this is what we talk about, is just what you said, is it's actually not so much about what's happening outside you. It's about what's happening inside you. And your power lies within. We know this as chiropractors. This is an above, down, inside out job. And so is this. So for me, I just have to be willing to sit with myself and face whatever it is that's triggering me and look at it as the observer and say, okay, what about this is what's under this? What's happening here underneath that's causing me to react, and how can I heal that within me so then I can adapt and respond to my environment in a different way.
And I love how you relate it to a practice member who comes in, and the reason they're having to take action is for neurological overload. Like there's a neurological breakdown, and that's really what's happening right now is we do have physical overload. I'm 100% convinced that all of these chemicals that we're using to clean and all of this stuff, there's going to be a repercussion to this. Like there's going to be action to all of this. And so I want every chiropractor to know how are you going to handle that with your practice members? How are you going to handle the massive amount of chemical stress that your practice members have been under? Like what advice are you going to give them? What additional, whether it's nutritional supports or topical supports, can you offer to them now? And will you be offering to them? Because it's coming. It's not natural for us to put stuff all over our hands all day long. It's not natural for us to be breathing in these chemicals, or even, you put on latex gloves, or even if they're not latex gloves, like these hands weren't made for that. Like your hands weren't made to be covered up like that. So I think that there's going to be so much windfall from this, or even the idea the other day when we went to the grocery store, it was so awkward because everyone's trying to like move around the store and keep your distance, but I need to get eggs there and you're trying to get this thing there. And like, what do we do? It's, it's like the first time you like went dancing in junior high with a boy or something. It's like, like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And you can just see the awkwardness that we all feel, right? Or, you step forward to put your stuff on the conveyor belt at the grocery store and you're told, hey, take a step back behind the yellow line. It's like, what are you talking about? Like behind the yellow line. So it's so much awkwardness that again is and then the media message is be a part of the solution. If you buy the system, you're not a part of the solution. You don't care about anybody else if you're not doing X, Y, and Z. And as chiropractors, we're like, wait a minute. The very thing that I can do to help people is buck your system and be in my practice when they have nowhere else to go, when they're not emergency, and I'm the one that's best suited to serve them, or even be beyond our like in practice. When someone's hurting, what is our natural inclination? Bring it in.
Love, man.
Right? Like, let me touch you, like that kind of energy. And now it's like, okay, we're not supposed to do that either. And so there's like new rules that are really challenging.
So it's a matter, like it's bringing to the surface, how much are we willing to take? And I'm not prompting people to not follow things they don't feel comfortable with. Like, it's okay if you're a chiropractor and like to do the social distancing or wear a mask. Like, I can hold space for that and for you and your comfort level in doing that. The thing is, like, as chiropractors, we know the importance of personal responsibility for your health, because it does come from the inside. This situation is a call for all of us to take personal responsibility for our space, for our thoughts, for our beliefs, and for our actions, and to look at the surroundings and say, and the media and everything going around us, am I comfortable with being told I can't hug someone? Am I comfortable with being told I have to wear a mask in the grocery store? And if I'm not, what's my next step? Like, I take personal responsibility for how I feel and for my actions. And what does that look like? It's about autonomy, understanding like your own belief system, and then acting accordingly. And I think that's why some of us are uncomfortable, is because we're being confronted with things that don't feel right.
Or we didn't have to take a stand for before.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like it's bringing things up of, and I, obviously in the boot camp, we talk all the time about being out of our comfort zone. And, and I don't even think it's so much of what are you comfortable with? What resonates here?
You're so right. Yeah.
What resonates in your heart? What resonates with you? And whatever that is, like Kenzie said, if what resonates with you is, you know what, I got to shut down because I really see that my contribution is in not being open, like hats off to you. Right. Because you're being true to yourself. If instead it resonates with you to be in there and serving and I don't know, setting up shop outside of the emergency room to adjust the first responders. I don't know what resonates with you. And I think we haven't had to really look at that because we've been able to just go along with it.
Yeah.
And haven't really had to look at what really is right for me. And and the whole idea about the immune system.
Yeah.
What's really true. Rashay, I think, said this perfectly. She said, thoughts, traumas, toxins cause misalignment patterns. Our patients and our own subluxation patterns are being taxed to the max, right?
Yeah.
Like think of it like buttons. Has anyone noticed that like your buttons at home, they're getting pushed, right? Where before you could kind of like, I don't know, do something and your buttons wouldn't be pushed, but like we're all being taxed to the max. And just like Rashay is saying, now they're showing up even more. Those weaknesses that we were able to like kind of like just roll over with some great supplements. We were able to roll over with an irregular adjustment. We were able to roll over because we were doing
we could compensate somehow.
We could somehow compensate. Perfect. People need us now more than ever. I agree. And in whatever capacity that is, show up. Pick up the phone like Mackenzie and I coming live to you right now. We're supposed to be doing a live coaching call and we're coming to you live because this is a way in which we can serve. This is a way in which we can stand in the gap, even if it's just for a few of you for a few moments. This is how we can be part of the solution. Andrea says, oh, my catching more lovely ladies on live. Hugs. We love you too, Andrea. And Andrea was one of our speakers as well at the Peds Boot Camp. So Kenz, how will you, so let's say someone who's watching this right now is like, oh my gosh, like I totally understand what you're saying. Now I agree with you. I totally get what you're saying. How will you have these conversations in your practice?
Well, we are talking about it in my practice. And so my job is, and our job is not to assume responsibility for somebody else, but to hold space for them to adapt, whether that's through an adjustment, through a conversation, through a phone call. Like you said, there's ways to serve without laying hands on somebody, but it's really important that I continually try to keep turning my practice members' minds towards the good within them and their own intelligence system. And well, what is that? Does that feel right to you? What does that really say to you? And how do you feel about, like just kind of guiding them, just like we're talking now, as far as like the congruence and the resonance and why might you feel that way? And, kind of just identifying and helping them to sit with their discomfort so that we can create a new pattern, do a pattern disrupt in a positive way so that we can use this for an opportunity to heal, and they want to get adjusted because it gives them more adaptation to the stress.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that different from conversations we usually have, but it's the same conversation every time now because, like you said, we're taxed to the max. And so it's a perfect time to explain our philosophy and how powerful we really are when we're able to go within and take action from a place of resonance and congruence.
Yeah. And I think really just, so this is like a perfect example, I think, of what happens when somebody comes into our office who's been everywhere and has never gotten either solutions or long-term solutions. It's because they were told it was something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've been told there's anxiety because things keep changing because of the unknown.
Right.
That's just a distraction over here. Just like like a practice member has been told it's just your genetics. A practice member has been told you're just going to have to live with it. A practice member has been told that's normal. It's normal to be riddled with degeneration when you're 60 years old. A practice member has been told it's normal for your kid to skip crawling and just walk. Like that means that they're superior. It's normal for your baby to look like this. It's right. So now they come into our office and there's not only a physiological disruption in the nerve system when they get adjusted, but now there's a paradigm disruption, and we're able to show them and help them get to the root cause. So I want all of you to just sit with that for a minute of think about when the light bulb goes off for your practice member. And then when it does, the doors of opportunity that are open and available for them to take responsibility, right? Because how do we take responsibility for our health if the paradigm that we've been taught is it's at the bottom of a potion, lotion, pill, or syringe? Because that's where they're coming in to us, right? And now they're giving the opportunity to be like, no, your body, it has an amazing ability to be well. It has an amazing ability to adapt, and I'm going to hold space for you right here, every step of the way. So as all of this is changing, I'm right here with you. I'm right here in the storm with you. And that storm sometimes could be painful.
But you know what? We've been there. We've seen it with ourselves and with our practice members. So we know the way. We are the perfect guardians and guides through this for people because we know the way and people need us.
Yes, absolutely. So as we wrap this up, what final words do you want to give to everyone? And let's do like a quick plug for Autism One and how can docs see you and hear you at there. So first, let's give hope. What's the hope that we can all cling to from this?
I truly feel more hopeful than anything else because for a long, long time, how many of us have said, we need a change. Like, we're killing our planet. We're killing each other. We're killing ourselves with all the processed food and toxic environment and toxic air and toxic water and these poor mindset habits, and people aren't getting adjusted enough and blah, 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 blah. We need a change. We need a change. Well, here it is. And you know what? Change usually doesn't look the way we think it's going to look. And it usually feels really out of control and really ugly. You know, I look at this like a birth process. You know, like I've had a couple natural births. I support moms in natural birthing and otherwise. But in that natural birth process, when you allow birth unimpeded, moms almost always hit a point in transition when they're going from labor to having the baby crowns and comes out, where mom says, I can't do this anymore. What that means is the baby's almost here and you're hitting a point where you can't, but you pull in the strength so that you can.
Right.
And you actually are doing it. So we're in that beautiful place. So that's not to put down or dismiss people who are struggling, just like a midwife would not put down a woman who's in labor and say, oh, those contractions don't hurt. That's not a big deal. You're going to have a baby. It's fine. The only thing that matters is the baby. No, this is a beautiful process and we honor that, but we're holding space and we know the miracle's coming. We're coming to the other side. This is an opportunity for growth, transition, new life. So I'm claiming that for myself. This is what is happening. I see it happening in my practice members. Huge breakthroughs these last couple of weeks because it's time. We just have to hold space and really high intention for ourselves and the people around us.
I love that. Cindy McFarland says, yes. And I can just hear her enthusiasm when she's saying that. And what a great example of transition and how important it is to have that team, right?
Yes.
Team when I'm weak, I really need you to be strong for me. You know, like Ben and I like to have a drink in the evenings. And I have realized like it triggers hot flashes. And so I said to him the other night, like, hey, babe, I love having a drink in the evening, but I don't want hot flashes. So will you hold space for me in the evening when I want to have a drink and just be like, hey, babe, like, you don't need that. Because I know there could be that point and it just tastes so good that he can be like, no, we're not going to. So he is my strength when I'm weak. You know, obviously there's lots in the Bible about that and songs about that. And in this conversation, here the midwife and steps in and lets the mama know, like, mama, you are so close. Like that baby that thing that you've been working, that you've been growing for the last 40 weeks, he or she, like, they're about to come on the scene. So you're doing great. It's supposed to hurt. It's supposed to hurt.
Because if it didn't, we wouldn't change.
That's right.
Discomfort.
Remember, right?
Yeah. And we can do this. We are doing this. We can do this. We know the way. We can do it.
I love it. And Sheree said, I love it. Right? So yeah. I hope this has given all of you some content to have discussions with your family, with yourself, with your practice members, even in our chiropractic community. If you have a chiropractic friend who is struggling, which, by the way, there are a lot of them, and you feel this would be of value to them, to maybe just like be that pattern interrupt for 5 minutes. Please share this with them. I haven't seen this being talked about. Maybe it has, and I haven't noticed it, but I think it's a really I don't want to say empowering, because it's so much more than that, but it's a conversation that we all need to have, and to recognize that standing firm and who you are and what you know, and going through all this and having it come up is because there's something so much greater. There's something so much greater on the other side. And so stand firm and know that you are not alone unless you choose to be. And if you choose to be alone, it's like that mama who hits transition and someone isn't there to say, stick with it, baby. Stick with it, sister. You got this. And that's exactly what our tribe is. And if you don't have a tribe, or you're looking for a tribe like this, then please reach out to me. Reach out to Mackenzie.
It's all love.
It's all, yeah, absolutely. And that's why we speak the truth, because we love and appreciate each one of you. So Ken, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you on the phone in just a minute. Bye, everyone.